Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Monica Agbo and I upload sensitive and lifestyle content on this channel. In today's video, I'm going to teach you all how to make this shirt with this elastic band and with some drawstring rope. If that's something you're interested in watching, let's dive into this tutorial together. To make your shirt with elastic band and with a rope, you will need your fabric, the elastic band, the biggest size. You will need your rope and your pattern paper and ruler. So to make this shirt, we're going to start off with the pattern drafting. So the first thing we're going to do is to mark out our starting line. Next thing I'm going to do is to determine the length of my shirt, and I'll be using 20 inches for the length of my shirt with the allowance inclusive. So I'm just going to rule out a vertical line like this. The next thing I'm going to do is to mark out 1 inch from this point to the length of the shirt. So I'm just going to connect the points together. So the shirt is going to have an elastic, as you can see. So the length of this elastic band is 2 inches. So I'll be taking out 2 inches out like this. So I'm just going to mark my hip line measurement, which is 9 inches. Then I'm going to mark my crotch measurement, which is 12.5. I'm just going to rule out a vertical line. So this is the waistline, this is the hip line, this is the crotch line, and this is the shirt length. So on the waistline, I'm going to mark out my hip measurement divided by 4. I'll do the same thing on the hip line and the crotch line. Mark out your hip measurement divided by 4. So I'm just going to connect the points together like this. The crotch line, I'm going to mark out my lap measurement. So your lap is going to be divided by 2. So the lap I'm working with is 28 inches. Divided by 2, that will give me 14 inches. So I'm just going to mark out 14 inches like this and mark it here. The next thing I'm going to do is to connect these points together. So on the waistline, I'm going to mark out ½ inch like this. Then I'm going to slant it this way. This crotch line, I'm going to mark out ½ inch too. Then I'll just connect the line like this. This is the new line we are following, this new line that we just drew, and this. To draw out my crotch line, I'm just going to make use of my curve ruler. So I'm going to place it like this and make sure it is well positioned on this new line. So I'm just going to draw it out like this. Can you see? And make sure it's met this new line that we just drew. On the short length, I'm going to mark out 14 inches, the same 14 inches I have on my crotch line. I'm going to mark it on my short length. I want it to have fittings. I'm just going to come out by ½ inch like this. And from this crotch line here, I'll just connect the lines like this. So on this point here, I'm just going to mark out 0.75 inches allowance. Then I'll just connect the lines together like this. So that will be all for the front pattern. So I'm just going to cut it out. This is my front pattern. So to draft out your back pattern, you're just going to place your front pattern like this on your back pattern. Then you will just pin it. I already pinned my front pattern and the back pattern. The next thing we're going to do is to mark out the crotch line for the back. The crotch line for the front is different from the one for the back. Initially, we are supposed to measure your hip measurement divided by 4. So after dividing it by 4, like for example now, the hip measurement I'm working with for this pattern is 43 inches. When I divide it by 4, this is what I have, 10 3/4. So I am just going to divide that 10 3/4 again, like this. And this is what I have, 5 1/4. So I'm just going to mark out that 5 1/4 on my crotch line, like this. So remember that my hip measurement divided by 4 will give me 10 3/4. So I'm just going to mark out that 10 3/4 from this line like this. So this is what I have, as you can see. Next thing I'm going to do is to come out by 1/2 inch this way. So now the next thing we're going to do is to mark out 1 inch allowance here. We're just going to mark 1 inch and extend it to this line here, this point here. So I'll just use my curve ruler to give it a nice shape. So this is the new crotch line for the back. On this waistline here, I'm just going to come out by 1.5 inches like this. Then I'm going to slant it to this point here, like this. So I'm just going to connect this point this way. On this part here, I'm just going to mark out 1.5 inches allowance, because the back has to be bigger than the front. So I'm just going to connect the lines together like this. Then I will just connect it to the shirt length this way. So that will be all for the back pattern. So the next thing I'm going to do is just to cut it out. So after cutting it, this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to take off my pins. So I'm just going to identify this as my back pattern. So the next thing I'm going to do is to cut this pattern on my fabric. So I'm going to have 2 of this and 2 of this. So I already went ahead to cut it out on my fabric, and this is what it looks like. This is the front pattern, and for the front pattern we have 2 pieces like this, and for the back pattern too I have 2 pieces. For the front piece, I'm going to place it right side facing right side like this. Then I'll take 1/2 inch and stitch the crotch area, and I'll also do the same thing for the back piece. I'm going to take 1/2 inch and stitch the crotch line. So after stitching the crotch for the front pattern and the back piece, this is what it looks like. So the next thing I'm going to do is to take out the allowance by the side. I'm going to place my back pattern like so. Then I'll place the front piece on it. So on both sides, I'm going to take 0.75 inches allowance. I'm going to stitch it to this end, and I'll do the same thing for the other side too. So guys, after stitching this side, this is what it looks like. The next thing I'm going to do is to sew this part. So I'm just going to flip it over to the wrong side. I'm just going to take it like this. Just make sure it is well aligned. This middle line will make sure that it is aligned. So I'm just going to take 1/2 inch and stitch it. Just take 1/2 inch and stitch. After stitching this side, this is what it looks like. You can see the lines are well aligned, and I went ahead to iron it. So the next thing we're going to do is to fix the elastic band. From this middle line, we're just going to measure out the round waistline. What I have here is 47 inches. 47 inches, I'm going to divide it by 2 and to give me 23.5. So on my waistband, I'm going to mark out 23.5. We had extra allowance. I'll just use the whole 36 inches. So quick one, instead of using the whole 36 inches for your waistband, just use your initial waist measurement. For example, for this short, I measured out 47 inches, but my initial waist measurement is 30 inches. So for the elastic measurement, I just marked out 30 inches instead, so that the elastic can shell very well. So what I'm going to do is to take it to my sewing machine and stitch it. Just take 1/2 inch and stitch. So this is what it looks like after I went ahead to take 1/2 inch and stitch the elastic band. I went ahead to cut out the band for the short. So I used 47 inches like I have on my shorts, and I added extra 1 inch allowance for stitching allowance. So the way it is like this, I'm just going to take 1/2 inch and stitch it like this. Sorry guys, I thought it was recording, but it wasn't. So after I folded it into 2 like this, I went ahead to put my elastic inside. So I just kept on stretching it so it can fit into my fabric like this. Then I went ahead to take pins to secure it, as you can see. So the next thing I'm going to do is to sew a close stitch at the end part where I pinned it, so that when I want to fix it on my shirt, it will be easy for me. So this is what it looks like after I went ahead to stitch the end part of the band. The next thing I'm going to do is to mark out half an inch. So at the end I'm going to have 3 stitches, half an inch. After marking half inch interval at all the sides, I'm just going to go to my sewing machine and stitch it. I'll just stitch on top of the half inch allowance that I marked. So after running the stitch on the band, this is what it looks like. So I'm just going to take my shorts like this. Remember there was a joining at the band area, so this line that is there, you make sure it is well aligned on one of the side of the short. So all you need to do is just to stitch it round and make sure you just keep dragging it. So guys, this is what it looks like after I fix the band on my shirt. So the next thing I'm going to do is to insert my rope inside the band, and to do that I'm going to the middle line here, I'm just going to come out by half inch at both sides. So I'm going to notch this area. So after notching on this side, you can see the hole here. So I'm just going to insert my rope inside. This is what the shirt looks like after I've already passed the rope through the hole that we created. As you can see, and it came out really beautiful, as you can see. So the next thing I'm going to do is to hem the down part of our shirt. So you're just going to take it to your sewing machine like this. You fold it this way, take half an inch and fold it again, then you just stitch it around. After hemming the down part of the shirt, this is what it looks like. Thank you for watching guys, and see you in my next upload. Bye guys.